So in this video I'm going to talk about the dominant eye. Now you may have heard this mentioned before, and it's quite an important factor in terms of how we go about lining up a shot and make sure that we're viewing things in a straight line. But there's also a couple of misconceptions about it, and you've probably heard people say about lining the cue up underneath your dominant eye. And that's not strictly true. What we actually need to work out is our center of vision. Whilst it's true that people tend to have a dominant eye, some people are right eye dominant, some people are left eye dominant, some people have neutral vision where both eyes are dominant and it's down the center. The way that that dominant eye works when we view things using both our eyes is different, and it's about finding the center of that vision and where we line things up correctly, rather than just using our dominant eye. I'll try and explain the differences here and show you a couple of examples of how this works. So if you want to work out which is your dominant eye, there's lots of different tests you can do. Fairly simple one, if you've got a cue ball out in front of you like that, you can hold your hands out in front of you and make a little hole between your thumbs there. Make sure the cue ball is in it with both of your eyes open. And then if you close your left eye, if the cue ball stays in that hole, which it does for me there, then that means you are right eye dominant. If you close your right eye, the cue ball disappears. Obviously, if it's the other way around, then you'll be left eye dominant. But that told me that I'm right eye dominant. But does that mean I should line up with the cue underneath that eye? And the answer to that is no. What's important is how my eyes work together as a pair, with one eye being more dominant than the other. If I played with my left eye closed and my right eye open all the time, then yes, I would line up the cue underneath that eye because it's the only one in operation. But that's not how we play. We play with both eyes open. So if you take that a step further, if you hold your hands out again, keeping both eyes open, if you start to bring that shape towards your face, you'll find that when you get there, you're not actually over your dominant eye, you're somewhere between the two. Now the only problem with doing that is I find that a little bit difficult with that shape to tell where you are. So a slightly better way to do that is either use your finger, or maybe if you use a pen or a straight line, hold that out in front of you and hold that over the cue ball, and then as you bring it towards you, keep it in line with the cue ball and see where that comes to on your face. Now it gets difficult obviously once you get really close because things go out of focus, but you can see there I'm sort of to the right of my nose, so not all the way over at the right eye, just about there. And that is my center of vision between the two eyes. And that's what I want to be lining up when I'm lining up a shot, not directly under my right eye. But there are still other factors as well that come to it, like how your head is positioned. I'm standing dead straight there and my head is straight. Everybody cues up slightly differently. So you need to test that in a shot environment to see where you should be aligned. So a good way to do that is you need a straight line. I'm going to use a cue here. This could be anything. If you set yourself up a straight line on the table, piece of string, anything that's dead straight, and then stand over top of that nice and high so you can make sure things are aligned. Hold your cue over top of that in a straight line. Put your bridge hand there, and then just draw that cue back so we know that we're in a straight line there, and get down, just feather that backwards and forwards a few times, making sure that that's in a straight line so we know that's straight. Now if we get down, if we place that center of vision that I found, which was just to the right of my chin, on the cue, then everything should look straight, and it does. I know that as I'm going backwards and forwards there, everything is traveling along that straight line. If I move my chin across and put my dominant eye, excuse the microphone, dominant eye over the cue there, I can tell that's wrong. I'm looking slightly to the left of the cue here, down the side of it, and I can tell that it's not straight. If I come across and put the cue in the middle of my chin, I'm now looking slightly to the right of everything. I can see that it's not correct. So play a little bit, moving your head across here and find where that center, where everything lines up, that is your center of vision as you're looking down that line. And it's going to be different for everyone. Just because you're right eye dominant doesn't mean you're strongly right eye dominant. It might be just a fraction off center, or it might be slightly to the other side. And just because you play left-handed or right-handed doesn't mean you're going to be left or right eye dominant. It's different for everyone. So again, don't just copy what you see someone else doing. You might look at a professional on the telly and see them playing with a cue in the middle of their chin and think, oh, I'll do that, it works for them. It was probably not right for you, because your center of vision is going to be different from what theirs is. Make sure you find your own center of vision and what works for you. Don't let someone tell you that you're cueing too far across, because if that's not what you're seeing, that's not where you need to be lined up. And as I was saying earlier, you can check that. If I close my left eye and use just my right eye on that line, then for that to be in line, my right eye is over the cue, directly in a straight line. As soon as I open my other eye, everything's out. I'm now looking slightly down the left of the cue. And I have to come back across to here before I'm in line. And try and remember that point. I know that just to the right of my chin here is the point that I need to be in contact, and that's my point of reference every time I get down, just here to the right of my chin. So find your point that's right for you and remember that for every time you line up. So as I said, the dominant eye is important, but it's the center of vision that is the vital thing to get right when you're lining up the shot. If you want to see more practice routines and pool tutorials, then please remember to subscribe. And if you're interested in any of the equipment I use in this video, then there are links in the description below.